So it's also during the reign of Cosimo II, during the early decades of the 17th century, that Galileo Galilei is invited to come and tutor the Medici children. What happens is that Cosimo installs Galileo at the Medici court, and he also allows him to erect a telescope, a sort of observatory, at another very new Medici villa, the Poggio Imperiale. Galileo is already known for being a very talented intellectual. He's definitely a courtier. Again, we're still in the period in which scientists and even very highly respected intellectuals need to come and sort of not beg, but to make their case for patronage from rulers if they're not directly, for example, employed by a university. And so we find that Galileo takes up a really quite comfortable residence with the Medici, tutoring their children and taking on private pupils of his own. More on him in the coming weeks. So Cosimo II unfortunately dies at the very young age of 30, leaving his young son, Ferdinando II, who was only 10 years old, in the care of his mother, Maria Maddalena, and his grandmother, Christine of Lorraine. This is not an ideal situation, as the two women do not get along. For, we might say, reasons of political persuasion or cultural background, Christine was the granddaughter of Catherine de' Medici. She is naturally pro-France and therefore against the pro-Spanish policies of Maria Maddalena, which sets them two bickering just about all the time about the education of young Ferdinando and really just about everything in general. This period of Florentine history is known as the tutrici. It means essentially the feminine plural form of tutore, which is like a legal guardianship. So this was the guardianship while Ferdinando was growing up until he reached an age in which he could rule himself, which he does in 1632. Before that, he's sent on a European tour in which he meets, goes to several different courts and meets other sovereigns, and takes over leadership in Florence in 1632. This again initiates a new period of courtly culture in Florence. Ferdinando is quite intellectual. He's got a very keen mind, and he is interested in scientific study, very much in tune with the general mood in Europe in the continent at the moment, and certainly in Italy. He and his brother Leopoldo established the Accademia del Cimento in Florence in 1657. This is a group of intellectuals who gather together to essentially work out in practice their motto, which is provando e riprovando, which means to try and try again. They are keen experimenters. Many of them were pupils of Galileo and are carrying on some of his principles. Again, we'll definitely learn more about this in the weeks to come, but it's important to think that Ferdinando, in this case, is sort of carrying on the legacy of the establishment of other academies. I don't know why I can never say that. Academies in Florence at this time, and under the rulership also of previous Grand Dukes. For example, with the Accademia della Crusca, the Accademia Fiorentina. These are all groups of some dilettantes, but some serious intellectuals who, again, gather together to dispute anything from the origins of the Italian vernacular language to barometric pressure. So it really runs the gamut.